Hey guys, Rinji here, once again bringing you the worst out of the VTuber community. And before we get into today's topic, I'd like to explain to you guys a little phenomenon that is very popular in the VTuber community, as VTubing over the years has grown to such a size that absolutely everything will intersect with them at one point or another. We have culture appropriation dramas going on several years back and even continuing to this day, and that's part of today's video as well. We have drama about gender differences. We have drama about privileges between certain races when it comes to VTubers, as well as certain genders when it comes to VTubers. We've got transgender issues going on in the VTuber community, and it's all very cyclical. It repeats itself from week to week, and it doesn't really stop, as VTubing is a hobby that pretty much is participated by millions of people these days, so it's not too outlandish when these things are brought up into the sphere. As weird as that may sound, it's kind of normalized, especially when you're part of the Ian VTuber community. When the English language community is involved, you get used to it. As weird as it may sound for a hobby or an industry that's so tied into entertainment, these things do indeed happen. What's very rare, however, is all-out political discussions that intersect VTubers, especially when it comes to right-wing, left-wing, or centrist politics. That's not something I usually talk about, as my knowledge of these topics is quite limited. But when it comes to sniffing out bullshit, when it comes to seeing nonsense that borders and breaking common sense, I'm quite good at that. So let's look at today's topic, as it intersects not only cultural appropriation, racism, but also the rise of the supposed right-wing, alt-right fascism in the VTubing sphere. Let's take a closer look. Okay, we really got to talk about VTubers and take these folks seriously, because they have a massive platforms and are fueling a genocidal moral panic against trans folks via disinformation while performing yellowface and catering to pedophilic fantasies. This vid is a case in point. I think a 30-year-old woman doing the Loli voice for a living ain't really the position to be making fun of non-binary and trans people, but that's just me. This video is once again linking the infamous Fallen Shadow defense video, where she pretty much defends herself against harassment and several death wishes and death threats that were directed at her over a booba joke. Fallen Shadow, a Loli VTuber, just because of her appearance, has been a subject of these attacks, and I have several videos about this topic at hand, even quite the lengthy stream, so you can check that out. Moving on. But nearly about the need to talk seriously about VTubers and how they shape cultural conversation are important figures in media, plus micro-celebrity. Tired of folks who've written this off as a niche and unimportant. By the way, since this tweet is gaining some traction, here's an earlier and longer thread I wrote about the need/want for more writing and research around VTubers in media studies. We won't go into that other thread, but as you can see now, people always have been trying to tie these weird, woke, leftoid talking points into VTubing in order to paint certain groups of people as evil, even though the issues brought up here have absolutely nothing to do with Fallen Shadow herself, or pretty much most of the VTuber sphere. Such a thing as yellowface when it comes to VTubing is a completely ridiculous notion. These VTubers aren't doing this to pretend to be Asian. They're doing character roleplay for the most part. Those that at least participate in it, that just aren't just themselves when streaming, they are just portraying characters. None of them specifically try to say they are Japanese. Sure, they may be taking some inspirations from the culture or other Asian cultures, or, you know, not necessarily Asian cultures in the first place. Like, VTubing is such a sphere where you can reinvent yourself in any particular way you want. You aren't limited to anything but, you know, the extent of your imagination. So painting them as weird races that are trying to diminish, you know, Asian people in some way, and making a big stink about all of this being racist is a pretty outlandish claim, I have to say. But yeah, this person, you may think, like, making such outlandish arguments, are they trolling? Well, you be the judge. Let's look deeper into this. Here's their profile on Twitter. Will Santo wants a better alternative. AI justice educator, critical race and digital studies, abolition and transformative justice, Boba SSBM, and anime hot takes, pan/B and B, she/he. And they have their own freaking website, as well as a banner that says resist in the background. And you go to their profile and you see that they have a portfolio, they even have a CV of their own. And they're an apparently accomplished speaker on all of these issues, which is, you know, pretty interesting. And considering there's also tied to STEM fields, I'm surprised that people with such opinions and, you know, with such takes that you just heard from me right here, that they can have a job in the STEM field where they basically get carte blanche in order to accuse people of being terrible racists. And then, you know, they get to speak in front of the United Nations Youth Assembly. And people invite them in order to portray these hot takes, as this person explained they have themselves. So, you know, either this is a deep operational troll and I'm getting completely fooled, or the world has gone bonkers and intersectionality probably needs to be stopped at this point if it gets to that point. But that's just me, and that's my hot take. Moving on. Without exaggeration, the face of modern fascism is Loli, VTubers, puppeteered by 40-year-old incel VTubers. Without exaggeration, the face of modern fascism is a small Loli VTuber making booba jokes and then getting harassed for it and sent death wishes and death threats endlessly. No exaggeration, folks. Completely serious. The fact that Loli spaces accommodate the far right, see below, shouldn't surprise anyone. If you ever spend time in the far right spaces or just look at 4chan, you see that them filled with horrid shit like this. And here's Rev trying to pretty much debunk this SDL person's points, but, you know, trying to defend yourself against these weird takes, against these weird accusations. That's a far right talking point. That's the face of modern fascism right there. The reason the alt-right is adopting VTubers like Silvermane and Pikami as icons is because they're trying to corrupt these communities into rallying against their targets, the LGBTQ. Most don't see through that crap. Nazis don't care about your VTuber. They want us dead. Just noticed autocorrect changed Silverveil to Silvermane. What the fuck? You'll know who I meant, the big booba alt-right anime waifu. You know, I won't dismiss one point, is that trolls and people generally wanting to mess with others will try to take the appearance of being fans of several VTubers that have nothing to do with their way of thinking, and they'll just basically try to portray them in the worst light possible, co-opting sometimes, but then moving on to other target where they can spread their trolling and their ideologies. But, you know, it really isn't a hive for these kinds of people, because they will attach themselves pretty much do anything in order to make their trolling apparent to everyone. But again, Silvermane picking me, alt-right anime waifus, apparently. Many of us VTubers are against this trash and are very left-wing. We don't get pedo bags because I'd rather they all be jailed. They tend to leave when they discover they have a lot of words banned from chat. Won't even let them bring up this stuff. Hololive is right-wing. I agree, you really realize there's more than Hololive out there, right? Except the biggest VTuber company in the world, and thus the one with the most viewers greatly disagrees with that viewpoint, showing an image where most of Hololive VTubers and other VTubers that are of a significant size say that they're lolicons, shotacons, and enjoy that kind of content. Yeah, you're mad at a big horrific corporation that markets horrible shit. Imagine lumping them with independent creators who don't. Not all of us are from Hololive, honey. And I wouldn't pick that life even if they wanted me. I mean, this bad and horrific corporation is the reason VTubing is so popular to begin with. A lot of things have been popularized by right-wing friendly organizations. You know, Hololive, the organization that promotes right-wing ideologies like racial purity, anti-LGBT rights, all that stuff these people believe is happening. That doesn't mean that the left wing can take them and use them for their own. It's technology, and given I dislike right-wing dumbasses, it's not like any of the people who like Hololive make me. The next wave of bigoted violence is going to be driven by strange people pretending to be anime girls on the internet, generating outrage against marginalized groups. For engagement when it happens, I'm going to fill my pockets with stones and walk into the sea. The new wave of VTubers that are lolis trying to defend themselves from extreme harassment are gonna be starting waves when said VTubers properly identify their aggressors. But this is that point where this person is gonna walk into the sea, and I imagine no one is gonna miss them. I certainly won't. What is this weird-ass right-wing VTuber subculture coming up? Loli fascist, my god, this is so bad. Twitter freaks is awful VTuber equivalent to the right-wing's woke. Both are just attempts to avoid saying slurs. Also, how funny that she says 12-year-olds are being mean to her when her entire online persona looks and sounds like a 6-year-old just for the basement-dwelling pedo audience. Don't cast stones from a home of glass. And there you have it. The right-wing fascists are on the rise in VTubing via loli characters, and nothing can stop them. Can we stop this wave of hatred against marginalized groups? We probably can't, because this isn't a problem that doesn't exist, and people that are so online, they will die in front of their computers before going outside and touching some grass is quite huge. And I hope at one point in time they realize how silly they are and they find a different hobby, just like I should. But for now, that's everything. I'll see you on the next one.